Okay, Rabotai, welcome everyone to another Wednesday night shiur. We have to discuss something here very important, and that is the topic of always is a hit is simcha, is always happiness. As a Jew, you must know. As a human being, you must know, and everybody must know. You have to be happy. Now we're going to discuss that. And we're going to elaborate about that happiness. Like if you see, it says Misheninas Adar Marbim Besimcha. And it says, Misheninas Av Memaatim Besimcha. In both situations, you always got to be happy. It's just the volume, is it higher or lower? So when it comes to Adar, what do? We high the volume. Extra simcha. Extra simcha. When it comes to Av, Med Besimcha. Lower the volume. But you're always in a happy stage. A Jew always has to be happy. Do you know that it's brought down in halakha? The Rambam speaks about it, that a person, if you become a Navi, if you become a Navi, Navi? Everybody knows what a Navi is. If you're a Navi, you cannot get nevuah unless you are sameach. You know that? You cannot be a Navi, you cannot get nevuah if you're not besimcha. You want to have happiness in your life. You have very good. You cannot get it. You cannot get nevuah unless he has besimcha, unless he's besimcha. Simcha is so important. It's brought down in the Ochot Tzadikim, in the chapter of Simcha. He says, if you do a mitzvah, any mitzvah, with happiness, you get rewarded 1,000 times. It's not a joke. It's not like he's not just writing just to write. Again, if you do a mitzvah with simcha, you get 1,000 times more than a regular person who's doing it. That means tomorrow morning when you're putting on tefillin, or next time you put on tefillin, just be happy. Wow, I have an arm. I can't believe it. I woke up this morning. I could put tefillin. Wow, I can't wait to get it on my hand and on my head. I can't wait. It's an amazing simcha. You have to be happy. It's the same thing. A person, a lady, she's tzniut in the morning. Don't just be wear tzniut in the way. Wow, I can't believe it. I'm Hashem's daughter. I'm wearing Hashem's tzniut garment. Wow. Be the simcha. Do it besimcha. Do it with happiness. A person goes to pray. Don't just go pray. Pray now. You excited? It's a sur to pray ala atzvut and atzlut. You know that? Shulchan Aruch says it. He says what? You can't come to pray about atzvut. The guy said, depressed. Oh my God, I have to pray me that. Whoa, chill out right there. What are you getting depressed about? What are you getting atzuv about? What are you getting what's going on? So you're not thinking properly. That's what's going on. Because if you really think about it and you dig deep down in it, there's no reason in the world you'll be sad. There's no reason in the world you'll be depressed. Sometimes a person has tzar, sometimes a person has pain, yes. But to have the sadness, the depression about it, then already there's a very big mistake on this situation. We're going to have to elaborate more and more about this. Now let me explain. It's brought down that if, for example, if we know the famous story in the Gemara, where it speaks about Kavbet Amud Aleph in Masechet Ta'anit. It says that famous Eliyahu Navi was walking, and in the marketplace, it says, who has Olam Haba in this marketplace? Who has? So one of the people that he points out to, and he goes to him, runs to him, he says, oh, listen, let me ask you, what do you do? So he told him, Mabdichin, they're jokers, and they make what? They make people, they are happy, and they make other people happy. That is zocheh to get Olam Haba for. That is zocheh to get Gan Eden for. If you're happy and you make other people happy, mabdichin, you make other people. What is it? There's more depth to it. What is it that it's so important? And that is, let me explain. When Moshe Rabbeinu went to speak to the people, before he went, who comes to Moshe before everything? Well, they were in Saad. The Bnei Yisrael was suffering from what? From the Egyptians. They're sitting there suffering from the Egyptians. Now Hashem comes, and Hashem comes to him in what type of bush?
Burning bush.
A burning bush. What bush was it? Thorn bush?
It was a thorn
bush. I ask you, he can't come in an apple bush, he can't come in a strawberry bush, he can't come in it has to be a thorn bush. I understand. That's all the bushes Hashem can come. Hashem can come in an orange tree and speak to. He's walking in the sadeh, walking the field. He comes through an orange tree. Wow, burning orange tree. He has to come through a burning thorn bush. I understand. Anybody can answer? The answer is very simple. We have a pasuk that says, Imo anochi betzara. What does that mean? Imo anochi betzara. It means that Hashem is with us in everything that we do. Imo, and therefore, if a person's feeling pain, Hashem is right there. And therefore, Hashem is showing that by saying, I cannot go. Hashem is Kivyachol saying, I cannot go in an apple tree right now. I can't go in the form of an orange tree right now. Why? Because my people are suffering. So what do I have to go? In a thorn bush. Because I also feel the pain. Because Hashem also feels the pain. When Bnei Yisrael is betzad, Hashem is betzad. And guess what? That's the pshat it says in the Gemara as well. If Bnei Yisrael, if Bnei Yisrael is betzad, let's say there was a hunger. Let me tell you what the Gemara says. If there's a hunger, big hunger, and you have food. Remember in the time of COVID, nobody was out, right? And let's say there was a shortage of food. You couldn't leave the house. And let's say nobody could get food, but you're the owner of the supermarket. So you go, you open up the supermarket, get all the food, you stacked up, you have everything. So now you go fressing, you're going and you go with the Oreos and you dip it in the milk. And no, not at this time. Gemara says, not at this time. Why? Because Bnei Yisrael's betzad, we have to feel the tzad. Why? Even Hashem feels the pain. Hashem feels the tzad. Imo, like the pasuk says. Okay, is that for me? Thank you very much. The people that's listening don't answer amen, but the people that are here can answer amen because it's not live. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'kol niyeh b'dvaro. Amen. Okay, so he says like this, like that. What is it called? Imo anochi b'tzara. That Hashem is with us in any pain. It's brought down in the Gemara that says, if it didn't rain for a long time. It didn't rain for a long, long time. It didn't rain for a long, long time. The Gemara says, then we take the hechal. Imagine taking the hechal outside in the street. Imagine. We take the hechal outside in the street. The Gemara says, what do? We put ashes, like we burn ash, and we put it on the hechal. I say, what? How could we do that? How could the halakha say that that's what we do? Imagine, taking the hechal outside, it didn't rain for a long, long time, and what do? We take ashes, and we put the ashes on the hechal. What? The Gemara says, how could you do that? Because you know why the Gemara says? It quotes a pasuk. Imo anochi betzara. That Hashem is there with us. It didn't rain for a long, long time. Don't think Hashem's He knows and He feels the pain. But what? Since Bnei Yisrael has sins, it's not raining. Since Bnei Yisrael has sins, it's not going to just rain like that. So therefore Hashem says, don't worry, I still feel your pain though. I still feel your pain. And that's why when you look back, now we can understand very clearly how are these guys, these jokesters, getting olam haba for making people happy. You know why? Because when a person's depressed, what is Hashem feeling? Hashem's with you in the tzara. He feels the pain. Stop. He wants you to be depressed now. You want Hashem to be depressed with you, Haz v'shalom? You don't want that. So get out of your depression and get out of your sadness and out of your things. And then therefore, automatically what happens to your brain? Your brain opens up. You're right, I shouldn't be. Now the question is, why is it so bad? So one reason is like what I just said. Imo anochi betzara. Hashem is with us in that pain. You don't want Hashem to feel that pain. For what reason? You have to know how to break it. And tonight we're going to discuss how to break the sadness sometimes when a person feels a little bit sad. We're going to tell you tonight exactly how to break it. But before we get to that, it says in this week's Parashat, I'll never forget when I first got married, my first Shabbat in my in-laws' house. I'll never forget it. My mother-in-law asked me a question. She said, I don't understand. How is it possible that Bnei Israel went from such a high, getting the Sefer Torah, getting the Luchot, getting everything, and all of a sudden coming down, and they do Het HaEgel? How could it be? You hear the question? You know how fast it was, by the way? You realize how fast they got the Torah, everything like that, and then how long after? Very short period after, they do Het HaEgel? You know how bad they say Het HaEgel was? That Hashem said He wanted to destroy the Jews. You know what happened then? Hashem wanted to destroy, that's it, finished. Hashem wanted to destroy everybody. All the Jews getting destroyed, heaven forbid. So what happened? How come we didn't get destroyed? So of course, what did we do? We pleaded to Hashem. Yani, of course, Moshe Rabbeinu prayed, everybody prayed. And Hashem says, look, imagine you have a son. And you're supposed to throw a big rock at him. Big rock. This rock, I'm throwing at my son. Boom, I'm about to throw it at them. At his son. All of a sudden, the guy says, no, please. Says, no, I gave my word. I'm throwing this rock at my son. That's it. So he said, okay, we tell the father, okay, calm down. Calm down. He uses his hammer. He takes the hammer. He breaks the whole entire rock into pieces. And now he throws pebbles at his son until the rock is finished. I threw the rock at my son. Yeah? Says that's what happened with Het HaEgel. Till today, is brought down. The rabbis teach us. Till today, what? The Avon was so great, Het HaEgel, that it's still repercussion to every generation has a little bit of a pebble. Why? Because the Avon was so great. But the question is, how did they fall? What was the downfall, Rabotai? What was the downfall? And the answer that Chaim Shmulevitz says is something called, they felt down. They felt unhappy. They felt defeated. Their leader Moshe, he's leading us. He said he's going to be back 40 days. They counted. Of course, they miscalculated. Said he's down. Oh, what's going to be? And it became a panic. And it became balagan. You know balagan? It became balagan. And because there's balagan, a person in his life, what happens? He doesn't act correctly. There was one guy. He said, Rabbi, I decided I'm doing this. Whatever it was. He was doing something, maybe I don't know what it was, but whatever he was doing, so the rabbi said to him, listen, I respect your decision, but don't make it now. He says, why? He said, because I see deep down you're not happy. You're very not happy. And if you're very not happy and you're making a decision now, it's not, it could be it's coming from the unhappy side. And if it's coming from the unhappy side, it looks like you might regret it after. So be careful. Be in a happy state. That's what he said. So now, what happened? There is you know Cain and Hevel? What did it say, Cain and Hevel? Cain, after everything was said and done, he created Korban. Vayiplu panav at the end. What does it mean, Vayiplu panav? He got down. And that's what caused the downfall. You ever hear of the Megadef? You know what the Megadef is? The Megadef is the person we say in the Torah. Not that we don't want to say Chas v'Shalom that we say he blessed Hashem, but in a way he C-U-R-S-E Hashem. You know, I don't want to say it, but that's what the opposite of blessing Hashem. What happened? His father was the only situation in Torah about his father being an Egyptian, and his mother was from the tribe of Dan. And what happened was, when they were splitting the land, he's going into which land? He's going into the land of what? In the Shevet. Which Shevet? He's going in Shevet Dan. So Shevet Dan, the tribe of Dan says, "Excuse me, you're not coming here." He says, "What do you mean? Why not? My mother is from Dan." He says, "No, we don't go by your mother. We go where? By what? Your father. Your father's Egyptian. You're not coming in our land." So they want to kiss him. Say, "Oh, you don't just kiss. Yeah, sorry." They go to Moshe. Moshe, what's the deen? The bad deen gives a psak. Bad deen gives a psak. You're right. He's not parted down. It goes by the father, not by the mother. What does the guy? What does he do? He goes out and he chas v'shalom to Hashem. The question is why? Why do you do it after that? Why? Heaven forbid. You know why? Because he fell down. When a person feels down automatically, what happens? You don't think properly. You do irrational things sometimes. You do things that are not sensible, that are not you understand what I'm saying? So therefore, a person has to be careful to decide and to know. Always be in a happy stage. The whole incident with Ruth. You know Ruth? Ruth had a sister-in-law called Orpah, and Naomi was their mother-in-law. When Naomi's husband died, Ruth and Orpah's husbands died as well. They all their husbands died. Now Naomi is going back home. Says, "Listen, I'm sorry. You don't have to come with me." And she's, you don't have to come. Ruth ends up going. Orpah doesn't. But she felt so down. It says that night Orpah did a lot of different things that she shouldn't have done. And where would that come from? Come from a depressed state. Sometimes a person, heaven forbid, in a million years, he just doesn't. Now the question is, how do you get out of that? What are you supposed to be thinking? What are you supposed to be doing? Let me explain. I got a call. Two things I'm going to tell you right now. I got a call one summer. It was in the summer of COVID. I don't know from what. It was like after COVID was done. There was I don't know how they got my number. Somebody called me up. I don't know who they are at all. And it was a lady. Rabbi, do you see the who's calling you? I said, no, I don't know. Doesn't say. No caller ID. So, okay, good. Now I could ask you. Said, yeah, what do you want to ask? She tells me the story. Listen to the story. She says that she was going out with a guy for many, many years. For that night, many months, I should say, many months. And she just got dumped. But not only did she get dumped, her best friend is going out with him. Like, all right, fine. Dump me, okay. But now you're taking my best friend out? My best friend? Imagine you're a boy, you're a guy. Imagine you dumped the girl, you finished, you say, I'm not going out anymore. Right as you say, I'm not going out anymore, your best friend takes her out on a date. And you're seeing this. What do you do? What would you do? Really, what would you do? No, sorry, what would you do? Sorry, I'm not saying stay standing up, huh? What would you do? Yes, what would you do right away? So this lady calls me up, says, Rabbi, what should I do? What should I do? Let me tell you something. The first rule is, this will pass. Says, Rabbi, you don't know what I'm feeling. I said, I want to tell you something. This is going to pass. I'll never forget. My brother Sauli's in 10th grade. I come home to my house. I said, Sauli, you look gazed. Gazed. You look Gom Majnun. You can ask Sauli. You can ask my brother Sauli's story. You see Sauli once in a while. Ask him the story. He's a 10th grader. He's walking in my house, back and forth, pacing in the kitchen. I said, chill. What are you doing? What's wrong with you? What are you doing? He said, tomorrow I have my math regents. And I don't know, I didn't study yet. I don't know, anybody who took Regents knows what it is. Like the night before the Regents, like, oh my, you're studying all the Regents. Is they going to ask this question or that question, the same question, you're studying. You go over like, you remember that, John? You remember? You don't remember? Chatanu Avinu Pashanu. Boys, you did. You still take Regents? You know how it is like the day before the Regents? You know what I'm talking about or no? People are bugging out. So I said, Sauli, calm down. I said, you know what I'm going through? This is it. If I fail this, I don't know what's going to happen if I fail. I don't want to get left back. Blah, blah, blah. He's going crazy. And I don't want to take it again. I said, Sauli, relax. I said, how can I relax? I said, look at me. Look at me. You, I told him like the exact words. I could promise you, I told him, for sure, in 3 years, we're going to laugh about this. No, what are you talking about? Fast forward. It didn't take 3 years. Fast forward. He's like, you're right. I shouldn't have went crazy going wild. Till today, when I remind him about that story, he's like, yeah, I don't know what I was even thinking. Oh, shtuyot. That's what he's like, oh, shtuyot. Oh, X plus Y equals Z. I'll never use it in my life. In my life. I have to know, you know algebra or no? You still remember? Well, actually, there's one time you have the pi with the 3.14, and actually it's a Gemara and even say it's Sukkot Avchet. But otherwise, you remember pi, 3.4, pi, how do you do circumference of a circle? You say to yourself, like, what's going to be? Answer is, this is going to pass. By the way, this is a very important ingredient in life. You have to get this, and you have to remember this and internalize it. Shlomo HaMelech, he has what? Who knows what he has? And he has a lot of things. He has chokhmah. But they say, he had a piece of jewelry, and this piece of jewelry, you know what it had inside? 2 sides. You open it, it had 2 sides. One side it had Gimel Zayin Yud. The other side it had Gimel Zayin Yud. What does that represent? Gimel Zayin Yud spells Gam Ze Ya'avor. Gam Ze Ya'avor means this too shall pass. So they ask him, Shlomo, why do you have it on 2 sides? Just have one. Have on one side. He said, because also the good times. Gam ze ya'avor. Yeah? Not always. You remember when maybe you were younger a little bit, and you had that energy, and you had that thing, you had that stamina. It could pass. But guess what? Other greater things happen. There's other happinesses in life where, fine, you get there, another happiness comes. Gam ze ya'avor, your bar mitzvah, right? You remember you were so happy, maybe you don't remember. You were so happy your bar mitzvah, everybody's dancing, I get the gifts, I can't wait to count the gifts. You get a whole garbage bag of envelopes, and you're opening up, I don't know if you remember, I remember, I'm opening up this envelope, oh, he gave me 500, he gave me that, he gave me 200, he gave me this, he gave me that. And I'm looking, wow, look at the bank guy. Hadid, I feel so happy. Then he spent it, Gam ze ya'avor. Gam ze ya'avor, the simcha is done. But what? Don't worry. There'll be another simcha. There'll be another happiness. There'll be another rejoicing. But in life, you can't bog down over things that happen to us in life. Oh, wow, because then you miss clarity. And when you don't have clarity, you do things in your life that are idiotic. What was I doing? What was I thinking? I wish I never did it. I did it because I was this, and I did it because I was that, and I wish I never did it. I wish I did this, I wish I did that. I'll never forget, there was a guy here in this shul. He was a pillar. If I tell you a pillar, I mean he was glued to the seat. Literally glued to the, not literally, almost literally glued to the seat. Every single morning, I'll never forget, every single morning, like clockwork, he was there in the minyan. Every single morning. We moved locations, and he said, Rabbi, there's a guy over here, whatever, there's that. He's talking to me too much. I'm in the shul. I don't want nobody talking to me. He was like one of those guys that are like very, very makpid. He's talking too much. And then once we moved, he moved a little further. I said, you need to be here. I said, trust me, I know you. Anyway, he made a decision based that time because he was down. Things were happening in his life, this, that. He was down. I said, don't decide to leave. He decided to leave, and he fell so down that he's not going to shul. Forget any shul. No shul. I said, why? Your decision that you made was wrong. You did it in a depressed decision. You wrong. You have to listen. You have to understand what's going on. This will pass. Finished. And Rabotai, it's a very important lesson. Gam ze yavod. I'll give you another example. There was a case that I had, Shalom Bayit. Once in a while, I get Shalom Bayit cases. Once in a while. I got a call. Rabbi, I need to speak to you, Shalom Bayit. Okay, let's talk. This person over the phone is crying buckets of tears. I'm not there, but I'm hearing buckets of tears. You know what I'm saying? Like, the lady is crying and crying and crying nonstop. You don't know what I did? My husband just walked out the door. He slammed the door. The whole on yards. I asked him for a cup of coffee, and he made it cold, and I tasted it, and I said, this is cold, and he went crazy. He first asked me for a cup of coffee. I make it. A whole balagan. So I told this person that was on the phone, this is what I told. First rule. You ready? How many times do you get into a fight with your husband? This is what I told him. That's what I asked. How many times a year? How many times a year? She's thinking. She's totally thinking. I said, if it takes you that long to think, must be you're not having too many fights. And this one fight, trust me, you're in a good position. Don't worry. There's other cases out there that's much more than what you could think about. Also, it's not that bad. You know, there's automatically in your mind, it's not that bad. I'm a rabbi, and I know sometimes there's cases that are much worse than yours, so you're good. You're lucky your husband doesn't. I didn't say like that. But I was saying, husbands could be much more. But guess what? There's another aspect that I just snuck. There's another aspect that I just snuck in. You know what I just snuck in? You know what I just snuck in? I just snuck in an aspect right here. Listen good. We said things don't seem as bad as it is. You're down because of this. It doesn't seem as bad as it is. They could be much worse. And therefore, count the blessing that you have right now. No matter what position that you're in, no matter how you feel, you are blessed. I said to her, do you know? How old are you? She tells me I'm 36. I said, do you know there's a 36-year-old out there that says, I wish I could get married so I could have a fight with my husband? Because she doesn't have, do you know that? Do you know that? She wishes she could be married so she could have a fight. Not that nobody should have a fight, but that she could have a zchut to have to such a thing like that. Nobody should ever have a fight. Amen. But I'm saying, do you realize that you're married? Do you know that you're 36 and you're married? Oh, Rabbi, you're right. Wow, I never thought of that. I said, don't worry. Your husband's going to go to work. He's going to come back. He's going to forget about the whole thing. And everything's going to forget about it. He's going to apologize, this, that. And if it's not today, it'll be tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, it'll be the next week. And if it's not next week, it'll be in 3 weeks. But you know 100% that everything will be okay. Just relax. 2 things. It'll pass. It can be much worse. It'll pass. It can be much worse. You heard that? If you remember these 2 things, guaranteed, you'll see if any time in your life, it might hurt, and it could hurt, and it will probably hurt. But just know what's a cushion, what's like the shocks. You know, have you ever a shock? You know what a shock is? Yeah, I remember a Cannondale bike. I was driving out. The shocks are unbelievable. You remember when you ride a bike? The guy has what's it called? The puffy, and he has the what is it called? Huh? I don't know what it is. So he has that bike, right? And then you have the guy who has the Cannondale, the shocks. The shock in life, the cushion in life is this factor. That gam ze yavor, and guess what? The things will change, and it can be much worse. And think about it for a second. Imagine Bnei Yisrael. Would have waited one more day. Relax, shway. What are you rushing about? Wait. Just wait one more day. What would have happened? Exactly. Moshe would have came. So what? Gam ze yavor. Moshe's not here. Wait. Shway. Have the patience. And you'll see things turning around. You hear that? You hear things turning around. But what was the problem over here? Saru maher min haderech. Chaim Shmuel says over here, what happened over here? What happened was, they saw what was going on. They saw things not going their way. Where is Moshe? What happened? Right away, they made a decision right away. This is what we're doing. What? What are you doing? What are you thinking? Why? Answer is, because it was called Bahala. Bahala means in a person's stage, when things are just like gas, like this, that, person can make decisions that are irrational. A person can make decisions that are irrational. Shway. It's going to pass. It's going to pass. Rabbi Victor Miller said a story once in Madison Square Garden. He said it many years ago. He said he was an 18-year-old kid, and a few guys. He was in a Madison Square. There was three kids, and they were and this 18-year-old kid was taking a group of young guys to see I don't know what, and all these shvar, I don't know who they were. They screamed out, "Oh, you dirty Jew, you dirty Jew, you dirty Jew." He wanted to fight. He was like, you call me a dirty Jew? They started fighting. After Madison Square Garden was over, they waited for him, and the rest is history. They really took him down. I'm talking about. So really used to say like, okay, the guy called you a dirty, whatever dirty. Okay, I'll pass. Okay. But sometimes a person's ego, relax. It's gonna pass, and you pass everything like that. You know how important it is when a person screams at you not to answer back? But what does a person do? Automatically he answers if he wants to answer back. Why? Very simple. The answer is back because he's what? He's automatic. If it happens, the most cases that I've seen, when a guy is going out with a girl or girl's going out with a guy and they get dumped, I see it a lot. It is so painful. I'm not saying it shouldn't be painful. It could be painful. My best friend was engaged. And I'll never forget the day that after the engagement, whatever, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, she dumped him. And I'll never forget the day where he came over sobbing, rightfully so. But I told my best friend, I said, listen, relax, take a breath. It's passing. Just wait. Now, he's married with another lady, and he's the happiest guy in the world. And he tells me, you don't understand. I married the best woman in my life. And the other, I don't know. Wait, shway. And this is really a great lesson that we have from this week's Parashat Tisa, that a person in life, he has to be careful. Like again, what was the downfall? The downfall was the peed. Remember, Hashem always wants us to be besimcha. Otherwise, Hashem feels that pain. You always want to be besimcha. Remember, it's 1,000 times reward. Remember, when you're besimcha, it says, I want to be in you. I want to be with you. But what? Be happy, be jolly. And I want to end up with one thing. Sometimes a person in life, he can do things to get himself out. For example, one time, there was one kid, one young guy, and he saw him down. It was a true story. The rabbi called him up. He saw him in shul. He was maybe 18. He called him up. He said, "You have a car?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Pick me up." Okay, picked him up. He went out. He took him out to like this fancy schmancy place. I don't know what it was. And they like sat down. They had like a steak. I said, "Rabbi, why are you treating me for a steak?" He said, "I saw you a little bit down. I want to lift up your spirits. There's nothing to be down about." Sometimes a person can take things like ice cream or a nice cold drink or something like that. It could also open up his mind. Walk on next to the ocean. It'll open up his mind a little bit. It'll open up your horizon just a little bit. There's real things. Of course, a sniut ocean. Yeah, I see you. A sniut ocean, shalom. Right? So it opens up your horizon. You could do things in order to get out. In order to, sometimes a person loves this item. Oh, I'm going to get this item. Again, physical things. Sometimes a person needs a drink, like a nice cold drink, whatever it is, to get himself out of that thing. That also, it might be helpful. Might be, let me speak it out. Let me speak to my friend. Your friend takes you out on a night out. You feel different. You feel good. You broke out of the what's it called, the DPness, the DPness. Someone, exactly. The greatest thing is as well. That's a high level where your person sits there. And you're right. And I just want to finish with this. I like to say before, on a serious, very serious note, sometimes DP'd, it could be that the person has a chemical imbalance, and that needs pills. That needs pills. That needs pills from a doctor, and it could be, heaven forbid, an irrational. It could be bipolar. It could be other things where there's a chemical imbalance in the brain, where it doesn't go in. What's going on, and you'll see a person will act so differently. It acts so wild. It's so different. I'll never forget one time somebody came to me, and 3 weeks later he calmed down. I said, "Can I speak to you for a second?" He says, "Is everything okay? Are you?" Yeah. He said, "Rabbi, I didn't have my." He has pills to arrange his chemical imbalance. There's a chemical imbalance in the brain sometimes. Heaven forbid. That's why it's important to get good sleep. It's important to get good sleep. Heaven forbid, Haz Shalom. It could trigger a person. A person could have a Haz Shalom 1,000,000 times a chemical imbalance, and that's a real situation. That's not go buy an ice cream and you'll be all good. Dip it in the hot chocolate. You know what I'm talking about? And put some sprinkles, or what would you like? A fudge. He likes the fudge. Put in the fudge, and there's that. That's not. That's real. That's real medical stuff. Real medical doctor has to really diagnose that. But the last thing is, and I'll conclude with this, and that is to be happy. It happens sometimes. Once in a while, you see a guy. What happened? What are you doing here? He says, Rabbi, it's not the same. I feel disconnected. I feel disconnected. This is my place. This is where I pray. This is where I learn. You're right. I might have drifted off. But I know, I drifted off, I come back, I get connected, reconnected. Because in spirituality, you have two things within you. You have something called the body, and you have something called a soul. The body and soul are one. I cannot see a soul, I can't see an neshama. And you can't see mine. But you have one. Facts, you have one. Facts. You have an neshama. Every single morning we say, Elokai, neshama, shenatata bi, torah. Ata berata, ata yetzata, ata nafachta bi, ata meshamara bi. The neshama is within us. The neshama is within us. And a lot of times a person, he's down sometimes because he's missing spirituality in his life. And therefore a lot of times you'll have a guy, well, what happened to you? What's going on with you? He's missing things in his life. He could have $100 million in the bank. If he doesn't do anything spiritual, he's missing a void, and there's missing in happiness. Guaranteed. There's no question. There's no guy that's a Jew that has millions of dollars in the bank. If he's not connected to spirituality, there's a void in it. There's a void, 100%. One guy, they did an interview with a millionaire. He says, does money bring you happiness? He said, if anybody tells you money brings you happiness, he has no money. Yeah, a guy who has all the money, he could tell you, you can have 100 million. You have to have the spirituality in your life. You have to have the connection in your life. You have to be connected with Hashem. You have to have the mitzvot. You have the Torah. You have to have all these things. We discussed tonight just on a level of where if you're feeling down, what do? Gamze Yavor, think that in your mind, and things you have beracha at that moment. Things can be much worse. That's what we said tonight. But there's other things as well where you need in your life. You need the spirituality. You need the Torah. You need the mitzvot. You need the tefillah. Hashem built a system in our world so we can be the most happiest people in the world. We could be the most happy people. What does it say? Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al ta'azov. You know what that means? Ki lekach tov natati lachem. I gave you a lekach tov. I gave you a good gift. What is the good gift? Torati, my Torah. Al ta'azov. Don't leave it. What does it mean? Don't leave it. Just follow the laws of the Torah. You will feel good. You will feel good. They interviewed one guy, a goy, not a Jew, a goy. They interviewed him once, and they said, "What's your success?" You know what he says? He says, every week I take 1 day off." That's what he said. So why? Because because I contemplate, I stop all my work, I think about my week, I think about this, I think about that, I think I can improve, I think about this. So therefore, when I start the next day, for the next 6 days, I know what to improve on, I know what I'm thinking about. Imagine, this is a goy. Say, I think, Hashem says, follow Torah. If you follow Torah, you will live the best life. You'll have that one day a week off. Hashem did it on purpose, right? I know that, right? Hashem knows exactly how to live life happily. So Bezrat Hashem, remember these lessons. Go over the shiur. Send out the shiur. Bezrat Hashem will be zochet to have all our lives. We should always be happy all our lives. And like we said, always besimcha, 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 besimcha.